Ever wonder why a 20-year-old startup sound gives you a bigger dopamine hit than a 2026 8K game trailer? Seriously, think about it. You can watch a trailer for the most hyper-realistic, mind-blowing modern game, complete with ray tracing and zero loading screens, and feel absolutely nothing. But the second you hear that deep, echoing PlayStation 2 startup hum, or the classic Game Boy ding, a sudden wave of childhood nostalgia washes completely over you. Your heart rate actually settles. You feel a sudden spark of joy. It defies logic, right? Why do classic video games with their chunky polygons and compressed audio have such a massive, unshakable grip on our minds? Well, this deep emotional attachment to games isn't just you being overly sentimental or refusing to grow up. When it comes to gaming psychology, it is actually your biology. Back when you were a kid, your brain was basically a giant sponge, completely primed to absorb every single detail of your world. During those years, your brain is in a hyperplastic state, literally building its foundational wiring based on what you experience. Think back to a Friday night in 1999 or 2004. You're sitting cross-legged on a basement carpet, drinking a juice pouch, staring up at a heavy, glowing tube TV. When you booted up your very first adventure, you weren't just experiencing retro gaming. You were experiencing a concentrated burst of problem-solving, reward, and pure, unfiltered magic that actively shaped your neural pathways, learning patterns, and emotional associations, deeply influencing your developing brain chemistry. Every time you finally beat that impossible level after 30 tries, collected a rare item, or discovered a secret area without having to look up a YouTube walkthrough, your brain released dopamine. But instead of just a giant flood of pleasure chemicals, dopamine actually acted as a powerful teaching tool. It reinforced that rewarding experience, boosting your motivation and helping your brain learn that this activity was worth repeating. Because you were so young, those emotionally significant experiences were much more likely to be deeply encoded and retained through the interaction of your amygdala and hippocampus, the brain systems responsible for linking intense feelings with long-term memories. Your brain took that feeling of pure joy, safety, and achievement and created incredibly strong, long-lasting neural associations. It built a deeply rooted psychological anchor, connecting those specific sounds, clunky plastic controllers, and pixelated characters to a feeling of total emotional security that is easily reactivated today. This is exactly why we love retro games so much. To really understand this, we have to look at the science of autobiographical memory. There is a fascinating psychological phenomenon known as the reminiscence bump. Basically, humans tend to remember experiences from childhood and adolescence much more vividly than many things that happen later in life. During those formative years, everything is new, highly emotional, and critical to building our identity. So, when you hear the opening notes of a 16-bit soundtrack today, those familiar visuals and sounds act as incredibly powerful retrieval cues. They instantly reactivate your emotional memory networks, bringing those vivid, formative experiences right back to the surface. In fact, psychological research has consistently found that nostalgia can increase feelings of meaning, social connectedness, optimism, and emotional well-being, which helps explain exactly why these nostalgic gaming experiences feel surprisingly powerful. Quick question for you before we go further. What's the very first game soundtrack that just popped into your head while watching this? Don't overthink it. Drop it in the comments. Whatever appeared first is probably tied to some of your absolute strongest gaming memories. Let's be real. As we grow up, life naturally gets heavier. We trade homework and summer breaks for student loans, endless emails, and the daily 9-to-5 grind. Your brain is constantly dealing with low-level stress and high cortisol. It is constantly looking for a safe harbor, a way to regulate all that adult anxiety. If you have ever found yourself scrolling through YouTube late at night, watching viral video essays like Why Modern Games Feel Empty, or searching for answers on why you can't stop playing old games, the truth is actually quite beautiful. Your tired brain naturally craves the specific comfort that those classic retro games provide. When you pick up that old controller, it doesn't literally erase your adult problems, but it does temporarily reduce feelings of stress. It increases your emotional comfort and creates a profound sense of psychological safety, letting you step away from the unpaid bills sitting on the kitchen counter as you travel straight down those well-established emotional associations and memory networks of video game nostalgia. It acts like a biological time machine. It uses those nostalgic triggers to reactivate your emotional memories and recreate some of the exact feelings associated with your earliest, safest life experiences. When looking at modern games versus retro games, it's not that new releases can't create amazing emotional moments. They absolutely do. But a brand new game has to build those emotional connections from scratch. Retro games? They have a massive emotional advantage. They have VIP access to your brain's emotional vault because they act as direct retrieval cues to your happiest autobiographical memories accumulated over decades. They don't have to prove anything to you because they already helped build you. This is the very core of the psychology of gaming. It explains why a brand new, visually stunning $70 release can sometimes leave you feeling overwhelmed, while playing old games you have already beaten a dozen times feels like returning home. A new game offers a fresh, exciting experience, but the old game triggers a profound, pre-existing emotional anchor. Your brain isn't just remembering the experience, it is actively reactivating your emotional memory networks and recreating very similar feelings to what you had as a carefree kid. Instead of just a quick thrill, this nostalgia is scientifically associated with deep positive emotions, immense psychological comfort, increased social connection, and a significantly improved brain chemistry state. Things that are almost impossible to find in the constant hustle of modern life. So, the next time you feel the urge to abandon your giant, guilt-inducing backlog of expensive modern titles just to experience some childhood nostalgia, and replay a classic for the 50th time, don't feel bad about it. You are not stuck in the past. You are just letting your brain lean into an experience that psychological research associates with emotional comfort, meaning, connectedness, and improved mood. And honestly, if my brain had to choose between adulting, paying rent, and playing just one more round of Mario Kart, we all know who is winning that race. If this little trip down memory lane gave your tired brain a nice dopamine hit, go ahead and gently tap that like button. Share this with a fellow retro gamer who understands the struggle, and subscribe. It is completely free, and honestly, it's way easier than blowing the dust out of a stubborn old game cartridge until your lungs give out. Thanks for hanging out with me here at Mind Answer, and I will see you in the next one.